Now let's talk about the ortho and polar mode. The ortho mode is right here on the status bar. This one is ortho mode, and as you can see here on the tooltip, its function key shortcut is F8. So you can just click on this toggle here to start the ortho mode, or you can also press F8 function key to activate or deactivate it. So that's ortho mode. We have the polar tracking right next to it. Its function key shortcut is F10. Alright, well, let's start with ortho mode. So I'll just click here and I'll activate it. Now using ortho mode, you can make lines only along horizontal or vertical direction. Let me show you what I mean by that. So I'll go to line tool after activating ortho mode, of course. I'll click at a point and this is what we have. Now it's going to make line which is perfectly horizontal or vertical. There is no way you can make line in any angle. So here I'll just make a line of maybe, let's say 10 units. So I'll type 10, enter. Now I'll move in this direction, and as you can see, even if I move my cursor further away from that, it's going to make it vertical, or if I move it way downwards, it's going to make it horizontal. Okay, so here maybe let's type 6, and then I'm going to type 3 here, and I'll move it up again, maybe 5 this time, and again 2. All right, and in this way you can just make lines which are perfectly horizontal or vertical. Now there is one condition where it will make line which is, well, not perfectly horizontal or vertical, and that condition is, well, this. If you snap to an existing point, maybe this one, it will change the direction. So that's the only condition where it's going to deviate from its actual nature, where it will just snap to an existing point. Alright, now let's make drawing using the polar mode. So I'll just activate polar mode, and as soon as I activate the polar tracking mode, it will automatically deactivate the ortho mode. Okay, so with that, let's go to line, and now if I make a line, it will create this kind of green tracking line when I'm perfectly horizontal. Now that's because of polar tracking. So it will show you when your line is horizontal. Not only that, if I move it in this direction, it will show you that 90-degree angle as well. But not only that, you can make your line in any other direction as well. So you are free to just make your drawings in any direction, but of course it will show you reference for 2 angles, actually just one angle, which is, well, 0 degrees and then 90 and multiples of 90. For example, here 180, 270 and so on. So here also, maybe let's just make another drawing. So again, I'll type 10, and maybe here I'll type 2, and maybe in this direction, again, this is completely random direction. I don't know the angle or anything, but I'll simply type 6. So here we are, and you can just make your drawing in any direction you want. Okay, now in this case too, if you want to restrict your angle to any particular value, then you can do that very easily. So maybe I'll just escape this command, and now I'll go to this polar tracking mode. Now we have this small arrow right next to this polar tracking. Simply click here, and now you can see some angles. So we have 90 and its multiple, which is currently checked, and that's why we have the green tracking line at 90 and its multiples. You can change to some other angle, for example 30, and now AutoCAD will show you green tracking vectors at every 30-degree angle, 30 degree and its multiples. So I'll go to line and I'll click on this point, and now here I'll just make another one. Again, you can see it is, well, 0 degrees. So I'll just click here. All right, now actually it is in anti-clockwise direction. Actually it is in negative direction, so it is 180 degrees technically, but you get the idea. It is horizontal. Now if I make it vertical, we have that green tracking line, but now look at this. We have it at 0, then I'll move it and we have it at 30. Then we have it at 60 as well, 90, 120, 150 and so on. So you got the idea. After every 30-degree interval, we now have the green tracking vector, and you can use it to make your drawing as well. For example, here I'll just make it like this, and then maybe I'll track this one, and as you can see, the angle is 240 degrees. So this time I don't even need to measure things, measure angle here at least, and I can simply type the length of this line. For example, maybe 8, enter, and there we are. Not only that, even when line command is active, you can change this value, and you can move back to maybe 90 degrees, or you can change to some other angle value, for example 15 and its multiples. Now it will show you this green line after every 15 degree and its multiples. So there we are. Okay, there is one more interesting thing that I want to show here, and that's related to a shortcut. Let me first move back to 90 and its multiples. Okay, now it will show the green tracking line at 90 degrees and its multiples. And now if for whatever reason you want to change this polar tracking mode into ortho mode, then you can do that simply by pressing and holding shift key. Now if I press and hold my shift key, well, the polar tracking mode will change to ortho, and this is temporary. Just look at the status bar. Here you can see that polar tracking has deactivated and we now have this ortho mode active. Okay, and this will remain active as long as I have my shift key pressed. So now I can just make line which is perfectly horizontal or vertical like this. As soon as I let go my shift key, it will move back to this. Now we are back to polar tracking. Now the same thing is true almost for ortho mode. So if I activate ortho mode and make line, it's going to make it at 90 degrees or horizontal or vertical. But now if I press my shift key, it will, well, deactivate all the modes. So now we don't even have the polar tracking active, and you can just make it in any direction, kind of like this. So that's our shortcut key. And once again, if you let it go, once again, we are back to normal. We are making a drawing in ortho mode. So that's the ortho mode and polar tracking.